Ever feel like, trying to keep up with IT is like a full-time job on top of your actual job?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Especially in life sciences, right? It's like you're switching gears constantly. One minute you're, I don't know, deep in some research paper on like gene editing or something.
Right.
And the next minute you're like knee deep in software validation documents and regulatory guidelines.
It's a lot.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
like someone decided, you know what these scientists need, more paperwork.
Exactly. And more acronyms to keep track of.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we're tackling a new one today, cDI.
cDI.
It stands for Continuous Data Integrity, and it's from a company called XLM. And they might just have the solution to our IP overload woes.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're doing a deep dive into their continuous TV weekly newsletter, the September 24th issue, which is number 29. And let me tell you, they don't mince words. One phrase really caught my eye, and I'm curious to hear your take on it. They say, have your entire IT stack up and running in a day with all best practices and continuous validation baked in.
Wow, in a day. That's a bold statement.
Right. So unpack that a bit for us. What does that even mean in the real world, especially in a field as regulated as ours?
It's really about taking the pain out of compliance. Imagine
Yeah.
you don't have to start from scratch, cobbling together systems and hoping they meet all the regulations. Instead, you get this pre-built framework, almost like a pre-assembled bookshelf.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Right. You don't have to worry about finding the right screws or if the shelves are level. It's all done for you. And it's designed specifically for the weight of, our industry's heavy regulatory requirements. That's the beauty of pre-built best practices and continuous validation.
So instead of spending weeks or even months just getting the basics in place and validated, you can hit the ground running.
Exactly. And we know time is precious,
Yeah.
especially when you'd rather be focusing on, actual scientific breakthroughs.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of which, this newsletter goes beyond just the what of cDI. It breaks down the how with 8 key applications.
8. Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, 8. And each one seems more interesting than the last. The first one they dive into is continuous LM. And from what I gather, it's all about streamlining software development while keeping everything GXP compliant. Because, let's be honest, that can feel like walking a tightrope sometimes.
It definitely can. It's always a challenge to balance those two.
Right. So continuous LM is meant to take some of the stress out of that balancing act.
Okay, so how does it do that?
Well, one way is through something they call system under test management. Essentially, it keeps track of every single step of your testing process, making audits way less painful.
So it's like having a detailed audit trail built right into the development process.
Exactly. No more scrambling for documentation at the last minute. It's all right there.
That's smart. That would save so much time and stress.
Tell me about it. But speaking of documentation, let's move on to their next application. Continuous DM.
DM. What's that stand for?
Continuous DM, so it stands for document management.
Okay, got it. Document management.
And this one is like music to my ears. I mean, how many times have we been buried in SOPs, protocols, reports?
Don't even get me started. It never ends.
Right. Well, Continuous DM promises to bring document management into the 21st century, and I, for one, am here for it.
Okay, well, I'm ready for the 21st century. What's it all about?
Well, think real-time collaboration, like when you're working on a Google Doc with someone.
Yeah.
But with Continuous DM, it's specifically designed for the kind of documents we deal with in life sciences. So you have built-in version control, audit trails, all that good stuff. No more emailing files back and forth.
Oh, thank goodness. No more trying to figure out whose edits are whose.
Exactly. And it gets even cooler. They've built in AI-powered insights.
AI, like artificial intelligence, is helping with our documents now.
It's pretty wild, right? I know. We'll delve into that more in a bit, but first, how about we switch gears to continuous SM?
Sherry M. Okay, you're going to have to remind me what that one is.
Continuous service management, so continuous SS.
Continuous service management. Got it.
And from what I understand, it's like giving your service management processes a serious GXP upgrade.
Okay, I'm all for upgrades. But what does that actually look like in practice?
So imagine this. Remember all those tedious manual tasks that eat up hours of our day, especially when it comes to GXP workflows? Continuous SM is designed to automate a lot of that.
Oh, that's a beautiful thought. Less time on repetitive tasks means more time for the interesting stuff.
Exactly. And it's not just about mindless automation. They've built in these intelligent forms and intelligent workflows that are seriously next level.
Intelligent forms. Okay, now I need some details. What makes them so intelligent?
Well, From what they describe, it's like the forms can practically fill themselves out based on your previous entries or commonly used data, and the workflows automatically route tasks to the right people at the right time.
That's really impressive. So it's about the system working smarter, not harder, and minimizing the risk of, those little human errors.
Precisely. It's like having a super efficient assistant who always knows what to do and when to do it.
I like the sound of that a lot.
Me too. But, we're just scratching the surface here. There are still 4 more applications to unpack. But first, how about we take a quick break and come back to explore the rest of what cDI has to offer? Okay, so we've already covered a bunch of cDI's applications, and my mind is, like, officially blown. This system sounds like it could practically run itself.
It's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah,
But we're not done yet. There's still more to uncover.
right. We left off with continuous ITOM. Now it's on to continuous item, which sounds like it could be a lifesaver in those moments when your IT decides to, go haywire.
Because it always happens at the worst possible time, right? Like when you're up against a deadline or about to give a big presentation.
Ugh, tell me about it. So how does continuous item help?
Well, imagine this. Instead of waiting for you to even notice something's wrong, continuous item is constantly monitoring your systems. It's like having a watchdog that never sleeps.
Okay, that's a reassuring image, so it detects issues before they become major problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond just detection. Continuous item analyzes the issue, figures out how bad it could be, and might even start fixing it before you even get an alert.
No way. It can actually solve problems on its own.
In some cases, yeah. And even if it can't completely fix it, the alerts you get aren't just those generic error messages. They actually tell you what's going on and give you steps to take.
So it's like having a personal IT support team on call 24/7.
Pretty much. It takes all the guesswork and panic out of IT issues.
I am loving this already. But okay, let's talk cybersecurity because, in this day and age, it's not a matter of if, but when.
So true. And that's where continuous MP comes in. It's all about keeping your email communication secure, which is especially important with all the sensitive data we handle.
Right. And it sounds like they take it seriously. They're talking military-grade encryption and AI-powered shields.
Yeah, no more worrying about whether that confidential research data is actually, confidential.
Okay, so it encrypts our emails, but does it do anything else? Like, how does it handle those pesky phishing attempts that always seem to slip through the cracks?
Continuous MP has something called an AI-powered shield.
Huh?
It can actually detect and neutralize those phishing emails before they even land in your inbox.
So no more squinting suspiciously at emails, wondering if they're legit or not.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of it. And for those extra sensitive communications, there are even burner email addresses.
Burner email addresses, like they self-destruct after a certain time.
Exactly. Just like in the spy movies.
Okay, that is next level. But speaking of next level, let's move on to continuous MTR. It seems like it's designed to tackle the unique challenges of what they call Industry 4.0, with everything becoming so interconnected and all.
Right. Industry 4.0 is all about that convergence of digital technology and manufacturing. But it also makes us more vulnerable to cyber attacks.
Right. So how does continuous MTR help us navigate this new landscape?
It's all about having that 24/7 vigilance. Continuous MTR provides what's called Managed Detection and Response, or MDR. Basically, it's like having a dedicated team of cybersecurity experts monitoring your systems around the clock.
Okay, so it's constantly on the lookout for any suspicious activity.
Exactly. It can detect and respond to threats in real time, often before they even have a chance to cause any damage.
It's like having, I don't know, like a high-tech security system for your entire IT infrastructure.
That's a great way to put it. But it's not just about reacting to threats. Continuous MTR also emphasizes proactive protection with something called Zero Trust Network Access, or ZTNA.
ZTNA, okay. That sounds intense. What exactly does that do?
Well, traditionally, security measures have been based on this idea of a trusted internal network and an untrusted external world. But with ZTNA, that line becomes a lot blurrier.
So it's not just about keeping the bad guys out, but also about verifying everyone and everything, trying to access sensitive data, even from within the organization.
Got it. It's like having a security checkpoint at every door, not just the main entrance.
That is some serious security. Okay, so we've got our watchdog, our secret agents, our security checkpoints. What else does cDI have up its sleeve?
Well, last but not least, there's continuous RMM. Think of this as the maestro of your IT orchestra.
Okay, I like that. The maestro, so it keeps everything running smoothly and in sync.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond just, keeping the lights on. Continuous RMM uses AI-driven automation to manage your IT assets proactively.
Okay, so we're talking like automatic software updates, performance monitoring, that kind of stuff.
You got it. And it could even use predictive analytics to anticipate potential issues before they even arise. So it's less about reacting to problems and more about preventing them in the first place.
Wow, this whole cDI system sounds like it's straight out of a tech futurist dream.
It's pretty close. And the best part is, it's not some far-off fantasy. This technology is available right now.
That's amazing. But with all this talk about automation and AI, it makes you wonder, are we making ourselves obsolete here?
That's a great question, and one we'll definitely delve into more after a quick break. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from self-filling forms to burner emails. It's clear that cDI is trying to be more than just another IT system. It feels like it's built specifically for, the way we actually work in life sciences.
I think that's a key point. It's not just about individual tools. It's about how they all work together seamlessly and in a way that makes sense for our industry.
Right. It's like instead of having to cobble together solutions from different vendors, you have this one platform that's already speaking the same language as your research, your manufacturing, your whole operation. Exactly. And that's what makes it so powerful. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about giving you the tools and the peace of mind to actually push the boundaries of what's possible.
And free up some brain space to focus on the science, which is, kind of the whole point.
Exactly. Let the technology handle the heavy lifting so we can get back to, changing the world.
Okay, so before we wrap things up here, I have to mention this newsletter is full of other interesting tidbits. There are links to some really cool podcasts. One is about something called continuous PDM, which, from what I gather, is all about using AI for equipment maintenance.
Oh, yeah, I read about that. Predictive maintenance,
Yeah.
right. Using sensors and AI to anticipate equipment failures before they even happen.
Yeah, that's the one. And there's another podcast on AI in healthcare more broadly. Plus, they have a whole section on the latest AI news. Some of the headlines are straight out of a science fiction novel.
It's amazing how fast things are moving, right?
Yeah.
It feels like every day there's something new to learn about.
Seriously. But for now, I think we've given our listeners plenty to digest. So here's a final thought, something to chew on. Imagine if IT just faded into the background. It just worked seamlessly and invisibly so we could focus all our energy on the things that really matter.
That'd be a game changer for sure. No more troubleshooting, no more system crashes, no more security scares, just pure, unadulterated innovation.
Exactly. The possibilities would be endless. Who knows what we could accomplish if we could harness the full power of technology without letting it, take over our lives. Maybe cDI is a step in that direction. Something
Yeah.
to think about, right? But that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.